Hey guys, this is Tashina from Logical Harmony. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am really excited because today I'm going to be doing a first impressions and a demo of the Power Play foundation from CoverFX. This just came out. I ordered it like an hour after it launched because I had to try it. And even before it launched, tons of you guys were asking me questions about it and when you were gonna see a review. This is that video. I hope you guys like it. If you picked this up, leave a comment and let me know. Just a little bit about this foundation before we get started. So it is 1.18 fluid ounces. That's about the same size as their regular cream foundation. I saw a lot of people online complaining because they thought that this was a small bottle, but it's about the same amount of foundation. It's just in different packaging. It is very interesting packaging as well. So it's kind of this little like a dropper bottle. So definitely a little bit different, especially for CoverFX. Their natural finish foundation comes in a squeeze tube, and then they also have a cream and a powder foundation as well. CoverFX is cruelty-free. This foundation is vegan. It is also a modern matte foundation with weightless full coverage that provides sweat-proof all-day wear, powerful shine control, and environmental protection. It comes in 40 different shades. Just like all CoverFX products, those shades include neutral, pink, and golden undertones, so it makes it really easy to find the right one for you. I'm really excited about this foundation. I was really excited to try it. I hope you guys are excited too, and if you want to learn more about it and see how it applies, just keep watching. I have already primed my skin, and I used my Kypris Pot of Shade as well as the CoverFX Blurring Primer. I did put them both all over my face. This is a really great SPF primer. It's very moisturizing and hydrating, and this is a really nice blurring primer. I used maybe like half a pea size amount, just the tiniest bit, and put that all over my face. So what I'm going to do is very similar to my other foundation videos where I'm going to apply this to half my face with a brush and then the other half with a beauty blender. I want to see how the two work, how they compare, how they contrast. Then I'll smooth out my foundation with whichever one I feel like looks better, and then I'm going to do the rest of my makeup. Some of it I will do on camera so you guys can see how things are blending, and some of it I will do off camera, and then I'll do a check-in at the end so you guys can see just how everything's looking. So I'm going to start with the beauty blender first, and I'm going to apply it to this half of my face. So I'm just going to squeeze out a tiny bit of the foundation. I'm really not sure, since I haven't used it yet, what the coverage is like. So we're going to start small because it's much easier to build up the product. And that formula does seem really nice and thick. It's not super duper thick. You can see it's dripping a little bit, but really creamy. Just gonna dip in with my beauty blender and then start pouncing that all over my face. And I can see even just from that little bit of product that I did get pretty good coverage. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit more though. I'm gonna do about the same size amount and just keep blending that out. And I'm going to do this side of my face, and I'm going to be using the blurring foundation brush from Smashbox. So I'm going to start with about the same amount of the CoverFX foundation because I don't know how it's going to apply with the brush. So I'm going to start with just that same little bit and then start blending it out on my face. This is my current favorite foundation brush. I feel like it is so dense, but yet so fluffy, and it really applies foundation very nicely. I feel like with the brush, I was able to use about half the amount of foundation. A brush is the way that CoverFX suggests applying this foundation, so I'm not super surprised. They do say you can use a sponge or you can use your fingers, but I feel like I got this about the same amount of coverage on this side with just about half the amount of foundation as I did on this side. So I want to look at it close up and then decide if I want to finish my face with the beauty blender or the brush and see if I need to add a little bit more product to either side. So I feel like on both sides, it's looking really nice on the skin. It looks very natural. It doesn't look cakey. It does have good coverage. I will say the side with the beauty blender has slightly less coverage, but the side with the brush, it's kind of laying a little bit differently. It's accentuating my pores and my dry spots a little bit more, but I feel like that's kind of a trade-off. When it's a full coverage foundation, it's gonna be some give and take. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and finish my face with the brush and just apply a little more product on this side to match the coverage. I'm really impressed that it took such a tiny bit of foundation. I was able to do this whole side of my face, and it has more coverage than this side. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish that up with the brush. Now I'm going to move on to concealer, and I'm going to be using the cream concealer from CoverFX in G Light. This stuff is so pigmented, you really just need the tiniest little bit. I'm just gonna take a little dot, and I'm gonna dot that underneath my eyes and on areas of my face that I want to highlight. Then I'm going to use the same foundation brush to blend out most of my face and use the Sigma Soft Blend Concealer. This is the F64 to blend out underneath my eyes. Okay, and now I want to check in and see how the concealer is laying with the foundation and see if it's mixing well. It blended really nicely with it. You really can't tell where one ends and the other begins. I feel like, yeah, that blended really, really nicely, and it's laying really nicely too. So I'm gonna go ahead and set my face, and today I'm going to be using the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder. This is in the shade Translucent Light. And I do want to see how the powder is laying on the foundation, so I'm going to go ahead and look at that close up too. And I will say, like, in the monitor and in the mirror, it looks very, very smooth. It looks very, very even, but sometimes looking at it close up, you see things you wouldn't notice from far away. It is making my face look a little bit dry, but it is a matte foundation, so that's to be expected. I'm going to use the illuminating setting spray later on to see, you know, once I finish all my powder products and just kind of see how that sets things. But in general, it does look good. It looks very natural, and that's one thing I'm really liking about this so far. It doesn't look like I have a full coverage foundation on. It doesn't look heavy. It doesn't look cakey. It's not clinging in anywhere. It's not really settling in too much. It just looks really natural. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup off camera, and then I'll be back for another check-in. Okay, I've now finished up the rest of my makeup, so I wanted to do a check-in with you guys. It's been sitting on my skin for a little bit. I did notice that other products applied really nicely over it. I didn't have any issues with blending. I didn't have any issues with it being cakey, but I wanted to look at it close up and let you guys know how it's looking so far. So I think it's actually looking better. It is settling in a little bit on some of my pores and some of my dry spots, but overall I feel like it's kind of melded into my skin a little bit more. I did use a setting spray, so after I finished all my face products, I used the Cover FX Illuminating Setting Spray. I kind of sprayed that all over just to help the powder settle in a little bit better, and I really think that that did make a difference with the foundation. I definitely want to try this with more products before I kind of have my final thoughts on it, but my initial impressions are that it's nice. It has really good coverage. I think if you have oily skin, this is going to be a great option for you. If you have dry skin, you might have to prep your skin a little bit differently, but it doesn't feel drying at all. It's not cakey. I liked that I could use such a little amount of product and get so much coverage out of it, and it definitely feels light on the skin. It honestly doesn't feel like I'm wearing foundation at all, and I think that is a huge, huge pro of this. So I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you next time.